What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today it's a frigid temperatures here in at the Fowles Valley Barndominium, and we've got this beautiful slab that we got poured out here, and right now we are popping lines. How about that? So we're gonna be popping lines here, and we're getting ready to lay out the steel. I've got it all right over here, as you can see. Brandon brought this in yesterday evening. I got some steel over here on the trailer. I got stuff here. And what we got, it looks like, is number 13s right here. And we're gonna be, man, this is pretty thick stuff. Look at that. That's pretty thick. We're going to be laying this stuff out, and as you can see, Moy right now, he's about to pop this line over here, so I'll show you guys. There's one. Moy, we're gonna pop a line. Pop a line. How about that? Adjusted. So the guys pulling measurements and all that, but man, this foundation really turned out nice. Looks really good. Now really it's going to be curing for the next several more weeks anyhow, but with this cold weather that we're having this week, I actually had a couple other pours that we were planning, and we decided to wait instead. So, but right now we're actually going to build on this side. This is the shop area. We're going to be building and laying out our I-beams on this side. Now you'll see these footers that I have out here, out there. That's going to be another extended covered area here at the Fowles Valley Barndominium. And all this will get base and stuff like that, but we have some piers, or I mean footers that we did here for this, which you guys can remember if you watched our foundation video. Yeah, it's pretty cold right now today. Let me give you an idea of what we're looking at here. This is a storage tank, or storage, above ground water storage right here. So this will actually feed not only this house, but I think potentially the way it works is the water. So we'll have the main tie-in coming over to here, and there'll be a send back, I think, that goes back over to the other existing property. Now this is something that had to be done because the city didn't want to give them another meter. Well, they would, but they were going to charge them like $100,000 to run a new line down the main road, and they said, well, phooey on that. And this is the plan that came up with, which I think is going to work pretty good. It's a 2,100 gallon water tank. I mean, really, they've even considered having potable water brought in, but just to say forget you to the but you know, anyways, I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to end up using what they got with the existing water line. It is kind of frustrating though when you're trying to get everything lined up and get everything there, and it's like people create these impossible scenarios or situations where you can't get what you want, because it certainly would have been better if they could have just got another meter. But they're saying the whole line size, you know, they shouldn't, I don't think they should be responsible for updating the whole road with water, because it's just going to improve everybody's property all the way down the whole thing. But you know, it is what it is. So it's going to take us a little bit to get some of this laid out, but I'll be updating you guys here on this build. We've got like a 2-story barndominium living quarters on this side, and then great big huge shop area over here. So we'll be updating you guys as we get into it. I appreciate you guys watching. Hope you enjoy this update. Let's get it going. All right, guys, we're going to be working here to get this laid out. So mainly we're just trying to get our measurements together for the leg and the slope. The pitch, in other words, the 3/12 pitch. So once we get that laid out, basically we got to deduct the purlin out of it on the eave height. So we got an eave purlin that is 8 inches. So we'll deduct that out plus the and then we'll add our angle back on. So basically we're laying out the I-beam 12 inches that's setting on top of the other piece to see how to cut these. And once we develop a pattern, we start duplicating it. But the other day somebody said, it's just crazy. You guys are fabricating this stuff out in the field, blah, blah, blah. Put it in the shop. And, well, the thing is we're working with imperfection. Your foundation, you might be slightly different. That's when we do the measurements. It might be slightly different. And so sometimes you got to make field modifications. Well, you don't want to do that when you're standing the steel up. You'd rather do it here. And so, we're building it to what we have in location. So the foundation is important for that because we want to work to our ledge. And sometimes it might be slightly skewed or something like that. And we've got to make some adjustments. So that's another advantage of why we do it. Number 2, I don't have a shop where, I want to fabricate this in, because we're not a steel manufacturer. We're a construction company, and that means working outside and dealing with the elements. A lot about what we're doing right now is just establishing our pitch. This will actually be duplicated throughout the entirety of this fabrication. That way we have consistency, and when we actually build our frames, we'll stack them on top of each other just to make sure that we have a consistent frame. So, and then we're going to start cutting. You might ask, what's the reason for saw cutting with the grinder cutoff wheel like that? And the reason why we do this is because it's perfectly straight and you have less grinding and stuff you have to do than when you would with a torch. And so you can kind of see it doesn't really take a super long amount of time, and for no more cuts than we're having to do. This is just the way we're doing it out in the field. We do have a torch and bottles out here, but in this case This is, like I said, the most preferred method because it's quicker on the after part to not have to do the additional grinding and prep work that you have to do in order to weld things together. Okay guys, so this first piece that we actually cut is the upper A-frame, and so what he's going to do is he's going to put these, he's going to cut two of these, he's going to put them together on the angle, on the slope, on the 312 pitch, and then we will be getting our heights from the other from the legs. So that's the game plan here. You guys might remember on some of our other builds that it's usually kind of tight and we have all this plumbing and stuff out here. Well, we got plenty of room here, so it's no problem. We're going to be fine on laying this out because I have this whole big shop area to do it. So we won't have to, you know, work around a bunch of plumbing. I do have some center plumbing over there as we're maneuvering and turning stuff and setting it in place on that side. So there will be a little bit to work around, but mostly it's wide open. Hey guys, I made a mistake telling you guys this was a 13 pound, but it's actually a 19 pound, which means for every foot it weighs 19 pounds. So that's kind of what you're dealing with there. Kind of misread that, but it's super thick, I can tell you that. And it's what you would call a 4x12 I-beam. On a 55-foot span. You will see us put the additional bracing in the center of these peaks. It's pretty typical on one this size. So that way when we're hoisting it and lifting it up, all the side weight won't be an issue. All right guys, we're about to lay this second one down. And we're working over here to this center line of where we popped the chalk line, which is right here. Probably could have used the teleboom out here today, but it's sitting over at the other project, I think. So whoa. There you go. All right, so we got the first part of the A-frame is already laid out and it's good to go. And We got the legs that are cut over here, so we're about to set those in place on the sides. And everything that's kind of dictating what we're doing here is based on our lines that we popped earlier. That's what we're working to. So we're working to these lines. And the guy spent quite a bit of time doing some measurements and stuff like that. But meanwhile, while we got one guy over here cutting legs, Moy's welding the center, and the guys are laying out the weld plates that are on the main frame here. So all that's going to be set up. Guys, that's pretty much it. Once we get all this done, we will be ready to start stacking them. So he's about to bring these next two over, and then we'll be ready to get it moving. So a minute ago, Moy was asking if we were going to have overhangs. And you say, well, why is that important at this stage? Well, primarily with these base plates where we set these, it would mean whether or not I would want to flush this up on one side or center it up. Really not a huge question, but you don't want to have to be cutting, you don't want to have to cut that smooth or flush later. So we'll probably center them up since I'm going to have overhangs going all the way around on this build. So you guys are cutting some strips of lumber so that we can stack it on top as we start stacking these beams. All right, guys, there it is. We got the legs. As you can see, we put these in place, how they meet up, and then we will actually cut that off right here in place. So this is kind of how we normally go about fabricating. And the objective, obviously, is to get our eave height established. We're working from this end to here and all the way down. The guys are setting this other one over here. So that's basically what's happening. We're going to duplicate this process 5 times, and then we'll be here to stand all this up. All right, guys, so I'm gonna probably be leaving here on that note. I'm gonna let the guys keep working here. I'm gonna head across town. I got a couple other things I need to go check on, and we'll keep making progress here. So I'll touch base with you guys here in just a little bit. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we're going to be continually showing you guys progress on this build. This is the Fowles Valley Barndominium. Listen, if you guys haven't already followed us on Facebook and Instagram, I hope you'll do that now. Also, check out our brand new podcast. We have a series going there called Building a Barndominium Start to Finish. We're going to be showing you guys the steps involved all across the board. We're talking, everything from plans to, financing a barndominium, the budgeting of a barndominium, all the steps involved. So hope you guys are tuning in for that. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. It's now available on Spotify, iTunes, Apple, Google, anywhere you can pretty much listen to a podcast, it's available. And we're going to be playing that on our YouTube channel, which we really need your support whenever we put one up, because it's a little bit different than our normal. So we need your support for something new like this so that our algorithms, and all that stay supported. So I think you guys will find this to be a real resource Thank you guys for buying our hats and stuff that are on our shop. We have quite a bit of product there available on hats and shirts and hoodies and all that kind of good stuff. So we appreciate that. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'm Josh Helm, wishing you all the best. Thanks for watching. Texas Best.